Hello everyone, welcome to New Creative Tutorials. Today we are going to learn how to create an advanced fingerprint HUD UI animation in Adobe After Effects without using any third-party plugins. And we are going to see some very useful and tricky expressions in this tutorial and hope these will be useful for your next projects. So create your composition and let's get started. So after create your composition, I have here in my comp some elements that you will find in the description below, which we are going to need to animate our background for the fingerprints. And so those elements actually can be created in Illustrator, Photoshop, or even here in Adobe After Effects. So I have here a grid and lines and frame and scanline and a null object that have some color control color, just so quickly we can pick up the colors from here, or maybe we can link them to make this control master to recolor our elements very quickly. So we're going to start animating this background. So the first thing we're going to do is animating this line first. So hit T for opacity and put that to 0 and maybe on 1 second and 15 frames, put that to 100. And so we're just going to have this linear animation, and then maybe on frame 15 we want the grid to appear, and so let's trim it there and let's hit T for opacity and put that to 0 as well, and just move after this appear and put that to 100. So we have just something very linear, just like this, and we want when these the opacity of the lines 100, we want to give it the create a flicker effect. So one frame before this one, we're going to keyframe this opacity the same, and one after doing the same, and here in the middle we're going to put that to 100. So like when these lines 100, this grid gets 100 as well, like a flicker effects like you see on camera when the metering mode trying to find a focus point. So just something like this, pretty simple. And then we want our frame to be animated. We want the frame to start after one frame. So let's trim this one and hit S for scale and scale it down to maybe 10, and then maybe a few frames, put that to 100. Okay, let's ease these keyframes, give it a nice push here. Let's preview this. Maybe this is too fast, maybe you want this to start here. Okay, so maybe give this some time. Okay, this is look nice for now. And then we want to actually add opacity for this, Shift T to bring the opacity, and we want to randomize the opacity when this scaling. So just put that to 100 and then 0. Another frame maybe 20, and then 60, and then back to maybe 15, back to 90, just randomly put in these values here, and then one more, maybe 70, or let's put that to 40, and then 70, then 100. Okay. We need to put a value here to 0 to make it more obvious. And let's copy all these keyframes and paste it here. This needs to be 100. So I get the idea what's going on. Okay, and we want this line and grid to parent it to the frame so they are all moving together. And so now our grid is pretty good animated, and so we are going to animate now our scan line. We want the scan line to be like moving, searching up and down on this grid. And so by doing this, we are going to hit P for position, and we want this to be actually starting first. Hit T for opacity as well, and we want the path to be animated as well, so put that to 0 and maybe 100 there on the same place. And then for position, Alt and click on stopwatch to bring the expression here. Delete this and pick whip these values. Let's name this X, a variable for X, and delete this. And for the Y, let's put Y equal. So this is just the same values here, just variables, semicolon there. And we are going to create another variable and name it W and hit equal, wiggle and parentheses, and put that to 2, maybe 300 and semicolon there. And then so the value here of the position is going to be X and then W1. So the value of the Y, it's going to be this wiggle. So now we will see that this line just go searching there. It's going to keep the whole comp just searching in that. Let's put this up a little bit in middle and then bring back that so it's searching there. Okay, this is look nice. And so we are going to add now a scanning text here. Okay, let's create a text. Scanning, can choose whatever font you want, and we want to, let's put that there. We want to link this scanning to the line so we move with it right now. Okay, and we want to add those dots that they are animating. So for creating the dots, just ellipse, and let's make a circle there. Maybe make it be 3, I believe, or 4. Okay, and what we're going to do to this one, just animating the opacity as well. So hit T for 0, and then maybe 10 frames, put that to 100, another 10 frames, 100, and then back to 0. Okay, we have just something like this, and then we're going to click, hold the Alt and click on stopwatch to add expression, and we are going to add a loop out duration. So we want this, let's solo only the dots here. Okay, so we want that dot to be flickering just like this. Okay, so now we want this dots maybe to be start showing up, maybe just right there. Trim it, and let's move these keyframes here. And where's the dot is there? Okay, let's move this dot right there, and then Control D to duplicate this one. And first, let's maybe add to 10. It's not so far, just maybe 5 plus 5, or add and plus 2. Okay, plus 7. Control D, and then P for position, and plus 7, so they are equal there. And just stagger those. So we have something like this. Maybe they are too much, so we're just going to stagger this by 3 frames, actually. One, two, three. And here the same. 1, 2, 3, actually. Well, you get what's going on. Okay, so now those dots, we're going to, let's put them right there and link and parent that to scanline. So they are all moving together. Let's preview this and see. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And so now we have our scanline and the grid, everything is animating. And so now we're going to create the bars that they are here. So let's organize this, and the same thing using shape layer, rectangle, and let's create a rectangle here. Maybe for this one, let's delete the stroke, we don't need it. And for size, let's put 3 for size. Now let's unlink this. Put that 30 there. And let's move the anchor point just in case. Let's give that a fill. And let's give it this color here. Copy and paste it here. Actually, let's name this blue bar, and let's rename this to dots 1. Just so we organize things. So now we have the blue line, and we want the blue line maybe to appear before the scanning show up, maybe. So trim that there and hit T for opacity and put that to 0, and after 10 frames put the opacity to 100, then F9 to easy ease these keyframes. So we have something like this. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate these blue bars, Control D and hit P for position, and add to maybe 5. Maybe let's add to maybe put that 8. So or maybe 5 is looking good. And let's start this every 10 frames. Okay, Control D, P for position, and add 5 to it. Okay, and then here I'm going to have like this, and then Control D and hit P for position, add 5, and start that 10 frames. Control D and hit P and add 5. 10 frames and move these sliders. So we have something look like this. Okay. Okay. Let's see and preview this. Okay, this is look pretty good, and so let's change the color for these dots to something different. And so just we can see things easily. And now we're going to add the other bar that is animating here vertically. So the same way, let's duplicate this one, change the color. And for this one, maybe orange. And for this one, let's move it so we can see it, and hit a U and change the opacity. So for these bars, we are going to change its scaling. So hit S, and we want actually to change the anchor point for this one to be in the middle. Okay. Here. Okay, so hit S for scaling, and so wait, we want the scaling of these contents. Rectangle, transform, and scaling here. That's what we want. We want it to do this thing. Let's change this to white. And so now we are going to do this by hitting Alt and this stopwatch for bring the expressions here. So the same thing we did before using a wiggle expression. So let's create some variables here. This X and this is the Y. Okay, hit equal. And then W equal wiggle parentheses, and let's put this to 350 semicolon, and then put the X to this, the X we need it to be the same, and W1. So we want the value of the Y that to be changing. So you get the idea what's going on here. Okay, this is look pretty good for now. And so we are going to animate its opacity as well. So we want this to appear maybe, well, after those lines show up. So here you T and put that to 0, be 10. And so let's duplicate this one few times and Control D, and we want to actually move this duplicate every 2 frames. And the same when it's hit P, and let's add 5 to it. Control D, hit P and add 5, 1, 2, and move this one. Doing the same thing, P plus 5, 1, 2, and move it. Control D, P plus 5, and move this guy here. We need to make more of these. Okay, Control D. Okay, there you go. So we duplicate many of these. You can just duplicate as much as you want. So let's preview and see how this looks like. So this is look pretty cool, and so now we are going to add another here, as we have in the example, we have the synchronizing text with the percentage animating. So create text and let's just synchronizing, put it there, our text. And so this text is just going to appear there, and we're just going to animate it with opacity. So when this maybe show up there, T0 and then few frames, 100. Let's trim this and let's give it a color. So maybe put that to blue. Let's ease this. Okay, and add another. We're going to add another text here, or we can just duplicate this one actually. So they are the same text, duplicate it, and let's put that 30. And so what we want now, we want this percentage to be changing. And so let's put it to be obvious here. Okay, so we have 30% and we want this to be animating, counting the searching or synchronizing things. So how to do that? Actually, it's pretty easy to do this, and this is by going to text, and on source text we're going to hold Alt and stopwatch for expression. And so we want to create this by remapping some values, and this by using the linear expression. So first let's say that we want the count to start at 0. So let's name this variable to be a big count, okay, equals 0 semicolon, and then we want stop count to be at 100, okay, and then we want the begin duration, so when we want this to start. Okay, let's say, or begin time, let's be time equal maybe at 2 seconds, and then we are going to add another variable, which is count C duration equal maybe 10 semicolon, and then we're going to add property here, which is where is it? It's interpolation and linear. And so we have here which property we want to remapping. So here we want to remap time, and here is our variables that we create. So just copy this here, and the stop count actually need to be the end value here. Stop count, and the begin time or begin count need to be remapped here. And here we want the begin time. Okay, so what's that mean? Anytime, so if we start at 2 seconds, we want the value of text to be 0. And we want the duration. So whenever the duration here to stop, so it's going to stop when this hits 10, this is going to give us 100. So let's preview this. Okay. So as you see what we have here, so even if we have our text, let's zoom this and see closer what's going on. You to bring this opacity back. So you see now when it is 2 seconds, this start counting, and we're going to keep counting there, but we have no duration. That we're just going to stop when actually going to get 100, and it's going to stop, and that is when we are on 10 seconds. So you can actually put it in, on the expression. Let's say you want that to stop on some time on the timeline, but if we add the begin time plus the C duration, we actually say to the expression we want this to be at 100 when we have 10 seconds passed. So it's not going to stop at 10, but it's going to stop when 10 seconds is passed, so it's going to stop at 12. So we can change those variation. And so to get rid of these decimal numbers, let's create a variable to this linear expression, and then count.to fixed. I think fixed need to be like 2 fix, and put 0 plus, I'm going to add percentage there. So we make it look just good. So hope this expression was very clear for you guys. And so you can now, let's say we want this to start at 3 seconds. We want the duration to be maybe 15. So this is not going to start until the timeline is at 3, and then start counting. And when it's past 15 seconds, it's going to stop counting. Okay, let's put in our example, we want to add 2 and 10 there. And let's see our opacity, T for opacity. And so in our case, we actually want that to start at 3.5. Let's trim this and I just said 3. Let's preview this and see how this looks like. So as you see, this is look pretty cool. Okay, so we need to create more of this as we have in our example. So for now, we almost create our background. So now we need to add those dots that they appear like scanning those fingers. So now to do this, we are going to create a new solid. Let's make it white, a comp size, and let's call it circle. Hit OK. And then we want to add a circle effect to this. So this circle, we have radius. Okay, and we have the opacity for that. And we have some other options we don't need. So now, let's say we want these to be maybe here. And we want these to appear maybe later, like scanning more time, maybe at 4 seconds. Let's trim this, and we are going to animate its radius here. So we want the radius to be 0, and then maybe a few frames to be maybe around 35. Hue and easy is that. It is too fast. Okay, let's duplicate this circle again, and for the second one, let's move it a little bit there and hit U and make it different. So the opacity, maybe 30, and let's make it bigger. And so let's preview and see this. Let's give some influence to this animation. Okay, so this is look pretty cool. And so now we're going to duplicate this one more time. I'm going to duplicate this circle again and just make this one, maybe when this finished, get bigger. We want this one, which is which we don't need to. Let's move it here to see it. Maybe 20 and 100. Maybe just 10. Yeah, just 10. And hit P for position. And actually we want this to be can actually animate instead of position. We can just animate in its center here. Okay, center would be even better there. And then here, let's turn it back to the center. Easy is this. Give it some influence. Okay, this is look pretty cool. And now we are going to add a new solid, and let's call this beam, and add the beam effects. Let's make this white. get rid of softness and maybe the length. We don't want it now to be that big. And so we are going to attach the starting pick with this with actually hit U and pick whip that to the center, and for the ending I'm going to do this, pick whip this to the main one. Let's hit maybe AA for bringing this center. And so now on the beam, we just need to make the length big and starting thickness to put at 10 or maybe just 5. Let's preview and see this. Okay, this is look pretty nice. So let's first change the color of this, and let's trim this and add a new null object, and let's change the color. And for this null, so just we want to parent all these to this null, so just so we can move things. But first, before that, let's move this null here and then parent those layers. And now we can just move it wherever we want. And let's duplicate these 3 times. Duplicate these and here we have a small problem with the moving dot. We need to replace the starting point of the beam with duplicate 1. So pick with the starting point to the center of the circle. Okay, so put it there, change the color, and let's duplicate this again, and for this one change the color to, and here hit AA for this and U for this, and just change that moving parts. Okay, maybe we can here hit U, change this. We don't want it to be that big, and also this one, just so we give it variations. This one too. So let's preview and see how this looks like. So as you see, things look pretty good, and we are so far, we create all this stuff. So now we have almost created everything, and I think the only things is remain for us is creating the fingerprints here. Okay, so The second part is about creating the fingerprint. So let's create a new composition, and let's call that fingerprint and hit OK. And here I have a fingerprint PNG or JPEG. So what we're going to do now, we are going to create a mask on this thing. So we are going to create a solid. Let's just name it fingerprint 101, and let's turn off. So what's the idea here is it's going to be actually tedious. This part is very tedious. So you just need to start creating a mask on these parts. We are going to create a mask for these parts and a mask for these parts and a mask for these parts. How we're going to do this, just we need to go by order. So for example here, going to add a circle and then add a mask, another mask, just like this. They are going to be separated. We need them to be separated, and just click here and Control D and move these here, and then Control D, move these here, and another mask. Okay, let's Control D for this one. Actually, it needs to be here. Why the order is matter? Because when they are animating, we want them to start seamlessly, like, you know, start the circle, then it goes this way, and so on. So now after this one, we need to get this. Control D, move it here, and create another mask. Control D, let's move it here, put it here. So you get the idea what we are going to do. So just keep in mind, you will have to do all this, and you don't have to do all of it on one layer, because as I said, we're just going to do this part on this layer and another parts on each layer. So just we are going to separate these masks. So I already have created this, so just for time, well, what I did to explain it for you guys here, let's hit MM, and you will see we have so many masks right there. Let's see, so these parts have its own masks. I think things are moved, so it's okay. So this part with a mask, and this part with a mask, and this part and this part. So this is just moved, so it's okay. So you get the idea what we are doing here, but keep in mind to make the order so the animations will look seamless. So now we are going to start animating these lines. So for example, for the first one, we need to add stroke to this and hit all masks. Let's turn off the mask. And so if we animate in these, and you will see what's going on there. Okay, that's why I told you have to keep the masks order is very important. So we are going to keyframe this, and you can the brush. Actually, I'm not revealing, so you just know, or just drawing on the masks. You see, so on the original, maybe 1 there. No, that's really, maybe 2 is good. And so, and put that to 0 in few frames in 100. So hit U and let's see this. Okay, it's look fine. 3 seconds, it's fine. Let's easy ease this. And now we're going to add a flickering effect again by using the opacity property. So 100 keyframe, 100 0, another keyframe, maybe 60, another keyframe, and maybe 10, another keyframe, and adding some variations there. Okay, so this was the first part, and then for the second part, we are going to just copy this and paste it here. So it's the same animation. Okay, here, paste it here, and except here, we're going to add some variations on the opacity. Let's solve this so you can see here, and add it maybe here as well. And we have the opacity of all masks, so we are going to add that as well. Paste that maybe just right there, so you get the idea what's going on, and maybe change the timing for this one. And so we're going to do the same things for the masks. So for all these masks, okay, let's just actually select the first one. On the mask's opacity, let's paste these variations that we create of the opacity. Just copy this, and let's select all these masks and hit copy. So now we're going to have something like this. And so what we're going to do, just start creating some variations. And now again, we are going to copy all these masks, opacity, and paste them maybe right here. The same variation, Let's preview and see how this looks like. Well, maybe this is too fast, but well, you get the idea what we are doing here, because this part is really tedious for me. So now we have this one with some variations, and just copy the stroke for this one, and so the third one, just paste it here, hit U, and maybe change this, and just changing the opacity here in this layer one, maybe there, and maybe again put it there, and maybe here as well. So the same thing for the last one. copy this here, edit hue, and we are just going to change, in these variations. Let's see how all of this looks like. So you get the idea. So now we have all these set up here. Okay, so now in this, we are going to bring this comp to our fingerprint animation and put it at the bottom. And so we are going to position this just right there. So now we're going to create a shape layer, just create a shape layer there. And let's make this shape the size of our comp. Let's center this. And on transform, let's not of the ellipse but our scale here. Let's make a perfect circle. Okay, just 50 or 60, and that's it. So now we're going to scale, animate this scale, maybe from there to something like that. Doesn't have to cover the whole thing, but just there. Just right there. And let's move this shape layer just above this fingerprint and change the blending mode to Stencil Alpha. So we have that appear only there. So this. Okay, and let's add a box blur. And so just by adding that, we add some details there when it is added. So this looks pretty good. And so now let's preview this. So as you see, these things look pretty cool, and so we can add here, change the color for this. Let's fill and choose this color we have. Copy it and paste that here. So we have this nice matching color with these bars, and we can add, actually, let's create a new adjustment layer and add glow effect. I have so many here. I think this one, the native glow effects. Add a glow to this, and so add a glow here. And just by adding the glow, maybe we need to change some of the radius, and that's look pretty good. And we can copy this glow and paste it in our bars here as well. Shiny. And so we can actually add here, we forgot to add the match text here. So it's the same as the other ones, just with, match. Let's put that there. And here, maybe when this appears, so let's see this one here. Just when that moved, see, I think here we want these to appear. Hit T for opacity and not that one, not this one. Where is the text? Text we create, I think it would be, okay, it's here. Let's move this up here and trim this and hit T for opacity and put that to 0. Maybe just few frames there. Keyframe that. Maybe we can just do it even. 0 here. Maybe 10. 100. Another 100 there. And we can make that flicker all time by adding the loop duration expression. And just duplicate this and move it right there. Let's see, this has to be right here. Duplicate again, move it to this one. And this has to be here. You can add this to the null as well, in case you want to move the whole thing. Example here, I want to add this maybe here, maybe this dot, maybe this one right there. And let's preview and see how this looks. So as you see, things looks pretty good, and we can add a motion blur to this. And so let's add a motion blur to all. So as you see, these look pretty good, and there are some things you can tweak, but I hope this tutorial was not that boring and very useful for you guys. So if you enjoy it, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos coming soon. Thank you for watching.